This My Thoughts Monday is brought to you by Kinetic Performance, the makers of the Rolls-Royce of barbell monitoring technology, the GymAware. Guys, in season training, we rock the GymAware all the time for quite a few reasons. The first, of course, is just that, the ding. Every time the athlete hears that, they know that they're hitting exactly what we need from them at that moment. And when they don't hear it, it brings out that extra little bit of competitiveness within themselves. On top of that, that awesome ding ends out bringing together the athletes as well, pushing each other and getting each other to be able to hit numbers that they probably wouldn't hit at that portion of the year. And finally, of course, that ding helps us monitor, manipulate, and keep track of volumes and intensities so we can best dose our athletes during the season at the right time with the right amount. Guys, hop over to kinetic.com.au and check out what Evan and the team down there have, because this is absolutely a sensational product that's changed the way that we've trained our athletes. This edition of My Thoughts Monday is brought to you by Valid Performance, the team behind the Nordboard, Force Decks, the Groin Bar, and Human Track. Guys, the most important ability for all of our athletes is availability, and that's the absolute goal of Valid Performance, is to provide solutions to performance professionals so that we can get the right information to make the right decision at the right time for the betterment of the athletes that we get to work with. To do this, guys, they have a wide range of validated products that focus on usability, and having being founded by the School of Exercise and Nutrition Sciences at the Queensland University of Technology, they're extremely evidence-based and they're beyond transparent. I can tell you that our time using the Nordboard and being involved with Force Decks, we have been introduced to so many amazing people that have truly helped us become better coaches, have a better understanding, not just of the technology, but also what we're doing with our athletes. So make sure you hop over to valperformance.com today to make sure you check out what they got. It's going to make you better and to do better by your athletes. Hey, what's happening, everybody? DeMayo coming at you with this week's edition of My Thoughts Monday. And today, guys, I kind of want to talk about something that I think that we need to start to pay a little bit more attention to when it comes to all of us throughout this vocation of sport performance or strength and conditioning, whatever we want to call it today. And that is our interactions and our reactions in situations with our athletes that may be emotional in nature. Now, the reason I bring this up is because just this past week, there was a huge tirade against a coach because that individual reacted to a student athlete making a pretty legitimately awful mistake in a competition and then not working back to correct it. Now, obviously, this is the Tom Izzo situation, right, where one of the athletes turned the ball over and coach didn't feel like he hustled back fast enough and really got in the kid for it. Now, I can hear a bunch of you right now saying, so what? It's none of our business. The kid turned it over and didn't hustle back, kind of earned it. But that's not the point. And that's not what's important. And whether we all feel that way or not, myself included, is not what we need to look at in this situation. What we need to look at in this situation is the reaction to it and understand how that reaction to that situation, based on how people see us in our profession and what we do as coaches, may be something that we need to take note of as we move forward here and continue to try to evolve and adapt and to become more reputable and have a better reputation throughout the sporting world. Because whether we like it or not, and whether it's true or not, the vast majority of people, the general population, and even those in administration levels and throughout the university, think that's exactly what we do. We sit in a basement or in a dungeon or in a fancy decked out new room, if you have that now, and do nothing but dog cuss kids all day. That's what a lot of people think strength and conditioning coaches do. They think we're just drill sergeants that sit down there and scream and yell and get in kids' faces to try to make them mentally tougher and all of those things. Now, We can talk about that stuff a whole nother day. But what we have to understand is that that's what people think. And there are a lot of things that go on that don't help that. These tragedies that happen obviously throw a dark light on us. But when you are looking at one of the most recognizable, respected, and successful coaches in the history of college basketball, getting these types of responses from people about how he got in a kid's face who turned it over and didn't work back fast enough, which again, a lot of us may say, kid earned it. You got to hustle back. But again, that doesn't matter. Because newsflash, you ain't Tom Izzo. I'm not Tom Izzo. Tom Izzo probably is one of those people that, especially even with all the responses that his players gave, is one of those people that you would think has earned a little bit of that wiggle room. As a strength coach? Have we as a profession or a vocation? So when we sit here and we talk about how we act and we talk about what we do, we have to remember that, in today's day and age where every single human being on the planet, excuse me, with an at in front of their name has an opinion that goes out around the world and can be interpreted, misinterpreted, taken positively, negatively towards you, these sort of things gain traction. And these sort of things can, turn into a forest fire, if you may. And people, for some reason, want to have an opinion. Now, we can get into, Scott Van Pelt's response, and really, that was awesome. But, how that fits. But, at the end of the day, we have to remember, if people are going to go like this, and we're trying to work to become better and become more recognizable and more appreciated and increase our reputation as what we do in a profession, then when you look at one of the top people in the world at what they do, one of the most famous people in the country at what they do, and one of the most respected people at what they do, and they're getting reacted to like this, how do you think now going forward a strength coach headbutting someone or getting in someone's face or getting in a yelling match with a student athlete on the sideline is going to be interpreted? And listen, dude, I get it, man. People get fired up. Emotions happen. I get it. It happens. We've just got to be careful because I think that, there are a lot of really good things happening right now. There are a lot of really good things pushing us forward to help us move forward. I really do think we need to take note with what happened to Coach Izzo and how this was reacted to and what goes on with it. Now, you could also say, oh, it was just a flash in the pan because by Tuesday, nobody was talking about it. You're right, but I bet you it still shows up in a Google search. I bet you that if you still look at it, there's some things that show up, about him getting in that kid's face. Those things don't go away, man. They don't go away. You can move on. Everybody can move on. Everything can be great, but they don't go away. And that's one of the pros and cons of the internet. So when we're sitting here and we're talking about moving forward, we're talking about bettering what we do and who we are. We're talking about being the best that we can be for not just the athletes, but for the vocation that we're involved in. Just make sure that when the lights are on and the cameras are around, that's in your mind too. Because if a guy who basically just starts the NCAA tournament in the Sweet 16 every year is getting bashed by people all over because of this, again, what are they going to think about with that meathead at the end of the bench as a person that does it? Not saying that's what you are, we are, I am, or anything. But remember, that's what they think we are. So, let's continue to push forward. Let's continue to stay together and try to be better. Let's continue to keep in mind that there are some of these things that people interpret, and more often than not, interpret in the wrong sense for their own agenda when we are making decisions to try to do things to make sure that we all continue to get better. As always, guys, appreciate everything you do for us here at Central Virginia Sport Performance. We'll be back next week with another My Thoughts Monday. I'll see you then.